All right. Hey, everyone. I'm Sam Valenti, and I have the real great pleasure of being joined today by the women's hockey coach at Arizona State, Lindsay Ellis. Lindsay, how are you doing today?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. It's been crazy. It's been a kind of a crazy, last couple weeks in terms of just hockey in Arizona with all this stuff going on with the Coyotes. I'm sure as you know about. I'm just curious before we kind of get into just your great career. Do you just have kind of any thoughts on that whole situation?
Yeah, I mean it's unfortunate the way it happened. I hope they can find a way to stay in Arizona. I'm an Arizona native. My brother and I never would have played hockey without the Coyotes being here, and maybe this team wouldn't be here today without it. So I hope they find a way to stay.
Yes, me too. Me too. I say hockey belongs in the desert, and definitely the NHL does. So fingers crossed they can find something and figure something out, even if it's not in
I
Tempe.
agree. Yes, I agree.
But I think they will still be at Mullet for at least one more season. So I guess we'll see how that all goes. But
Yes, indeed.
but first off, I really just kind of want to start off, with your background, in hockey and stuff. Just kind of how did you get interested in this in the sport? When did you get into it? Kind of from like an early age, like kind of like how did you get, into it?
Yeah, my brother played. He played at a pretty high level, both roller and ice, and I was at the rink every day and finally got to the point where I started playing. So, roller hockey in Arizona used to be way bigger than it is now. And I started out playing travel roller hockey, and then I transferred over to ice hockey later.
Not nice, nice. Did you have like a favorite like NHL team sort of growing up?
Yeah, when I was younger, it was the Coyotes. I mean, we had Kachuk and all those guys here in Arizona, and it was fun. It was fun to watch. I mean, it still is fun to watch, but having all those stars in Arizona just kind of gives a different presence to professional hockey.
Yes, absolutely. And then you know no like how did you kind of like how did you start getting into playing the sport and stuff?
Yeah, it was mostly my brother, just being at the rink every day. I was actually a gymnast, so my mom would pick me up from gymnastics, and then we'd meet my dad and my brother at the rink. So it was kind of like I was always there anyway. So why not just play myself? So that's kind of how I got into it. Is just basically my brother playing and me being there all the time.
Nice. And of course you ended up going to Miami University, not the one in Florida, the one in Ohio where you played hockey, of course, and you had great success there. What made you choose Miami, Ohio to go to school?
Yeah, so at this time there weren't any schools basically anywhere on the West Coast for women's collegiate hockey, and um, I had toured some Arizona schools, some considered maybe not playing hockey, and then I got some academic scholarships to Division III schools. But here in Arizona, the high schools are pretty big, and going to a college that was smaller than my high school wasn't super enticing to me. And then one of my friends, one of my teammates from high school ended up playing ACHA hockey, and I didn't really know anything about it before then. And some of my family is from in the Midwest. So my parents are from there. So we went to visit Miami. It was their first year. They were putting a team together, and I visited and just fell in love with the campus, fell in love with the rink, and just being able to see a true college arena at Miami and just kind of the atmosphere is something I had never seen and something you wouldn't be able to get at the Division III level. So that's kind of why I chose Miami.
And of course, as you mentioned, no, that program it was really just kind of beginning, once you got there. So just what was it like getting to be a part of the beginnings really of that program, and then not only that, but being able to achieve, great success there, as well, and kind of seeing that build.
Yeah, I mean, when I went on my visit, there's three girls, Jess Wood, Liz Wardlow, and then Channing Obby. And we were able to get on the ice together and great skill there. And just being able to see kind of not only the skill, but just being able to see where they want to go. And I knew it wasn't going to happen maybe too quick, but it was just kind of where I felt at home. It's where I wanted to be, and that's who I wanted to be with. And it all happened really quickly in terms of just elevating the program.
Yes, of course. And then of course, 2014, you guys end up winning a national championship, which is super awesome. Just what was that whole experience like? Like just going on that run and then being able to really, reach the mountaintop.
Yeah, it was. I mean, looking back, it was, I just remember we just kept winning and winning. And, the 2 years prior, we would win some, we would lose some. And it was just kind of going through the ebbs and flows of a season. But then when we got to the 2013, 2014 season, it was, we just kept winning. There was like no stopping us. And, we really believed in each other. We were like inseparable as teammates. We did absolutely everything together. And we just knew going into, kind of the second semester and going to nationals and things like that. We just knew it was ours to take and nobody was stopping us. And it was a cool feeling to kind of go through all of that.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I got to ask what no for you because now you got to experience that as a player, and then of course we'll get into this a bit more in detail later. But of course this past season with Arizona State, you guys had such an amazing season. I'm just curious, is there no, is there like a sort of thing where maybe one or the other is more I guess rewarding for you as like a coach or a player, like I guess.
I wouldn't say one is more rewarding than the other. They're definitely very different experiences working towards
Right.
something as a player versus as a coach and building it up from the administrative side. But obviously I'm really proud of the playing career. I was super proud to wear the Miami jersey. But doing it as a coach and building it up and going to nationals for the first time, it took a little bit longer to get there, but I knew it was going to happen. And just kind of getting the correct personnel. So learning how to recruit and learning how to build a culture was something that I had to do from the coaching side that took a little bit more time.
Yes, of course. And of course, you ended the crazy thing is that you ended up, founding, the women's hockey program in AFC, which is just super impressive. And I thought that was so amazing. The fact that you're not only the coach that I mean, this is program. It's pretty much, your baby, no, kind of in a way. So just take me through the process of starting the program, whenever you first get the idea for this, you're talking with officials, trying to get this build up, just kind of that whole thing.
Yeah, I don't know if everybody even knows the story of kind of how it started, but 2014 is actually the same year that ASU men's team won the national championship. So we ended up winning it on the same ice just a few days later. And I remember coming home from spring break and some of my guy friends were on that team. And, I kind of started having the thought of why couldn't any of us girls, stay home and play for our state school? We had to go further east to go play college hockey. There was just no options for us. So that's where the idea kind of started brewing. And I had gotten in contact with Coach Powers. And he kind of gave me the contacts on who to contact, things like that. And we were able to get approved as a sport club. And that's kind of where it started taking off. And I didn't totally, I guess, understand that I was going to be a head coach and build this program. But kind of once it was solidified that we were a team, we just kind of hit the ground running and we've been going ever since.
Yeah, and like and I can only imagine, that first season, I imagine it's super fun, but I have to imagine that there were probably some challenges, at least definitely during that first season, like would you mind kind of talking about that, like any sort of difficulties and maybe how you had to overcome that kind of stuff.
Yeah, just being geographically where we're located, there were certain players who kind of wrote us off and just kind of thought, college hockey for women isn't going to work in Arizona just because there was really nobody else around. And It was really hard recruiting at the beginning, and I got such a good core group at the beginning. We had such a small roster, but it was really girls who believed in what we were doing. And to this day, like those girls worked harder than anybody I've ever coached. I mean, having 10 skaters and a goalie, they really had no rest. And playing a 60-minute game, they were absolutely the most conditioned players I've ever had. I know our players obviously work super hard to this day, but those players at the beginning really believed in what we were doing and set in stone what we were going to do for the rest of basically program history.
Yep, and it's great because it all starts with that one season, and then look how much it's grown, to where you guys are winning, that where you guys won the WWCHL championship, which is amazing. And I just want to say I remember seeing all that stuff on Twitter and just seeing the response from everyone, like just around the ASU, and hockey community here in Arizona. I just thought that was so awesome to see like the great attention that you guys were getting.
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, even coming back, I forget what weekend it was. There was a boys tournament going on somewhere. So flying back and we had the trophies and we're waiting for at baggage claim and everybody's kind of coming up to us. And there's so many ASU alumni just coming up to us in the airport. And it was a really cool experience and just kind of realizing that what we're doing is a whole lot bigger than us. And sometimes we forget that. So it's cool to be able to share that with so many people.
Yes, of course. And something else, that you guys got to do last season, what was you guys got to open up Mullet Arena, last year, which is amazing. The first ever event, Mullet Arena, the opening, it was super hyped up. Everyone was so excited for the arena. You guys had the incredible honor to open it up, play the first game on that ice. Just, would you mind talking about that whole experience?
Yeah, so the men's team needed to basically test out everything in the arena. It's never been used. Nothing has ever been done there. There's been no events. Everything from security to on ice. The pegs they put for the posts for the goal. So everything had to be tested out. And Greg Powers reached out to me and was like, "Hey, this would be a cool experience. Maybe do you and GCU want to play each other and be the home opener?" And I'm like, yes, absolutely. There's no way I'm turning that down. And it was really cool. There was a lot of people there and be able to hear like the sounds of the crowd going back and forth. And it was just a really cool experience. And we owe that all to Greg. I mean, he gives us so many opportunities and that was a really cool, display of our team and being able to get our name out there more too.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And like I was just saying earlier, that was just it was just such an amazing season that you guys had last year. Just I want to know, in your opinion, what do you think were the biggest factors to the success that you guys had?
Yeah, I think our culture, one, but two, just the personnel and the right player leadership. We went into our beginning of the year meeting. I always have a team meeting before we even step on the ice. That's something that as a coaching staff, we really think is important to, set our standards and things like that. And we had so many new players. I think we had 16 total new players. So that's more than half the team. And we knew we had a lot to discuss. And we didn't even know they had all known each other yet. And they walked in that morning, they had already been hanging out. They were laughing and it was just a different atmosphere. It was 8 a.m. Of course, they didn't want to wake up that early as college kids, but they walked in and we kind of looked at each other as coaches and we were like, this is different. And we knew it was a good different. And we kind of knew from that point that, we were all in because this team was going to take us pretty far.
Yep, absolutely. And I think that you make such a great point that building success, it really starts with building a culture. And we're seeing that at ASU, I think, right now with even the football team, and what Dillingham is really trying to do, is really trying to build a culture around that team. And hearing about it's instilling that culture in with your team. I think that's something that if you get that, and you get people to buy in, that can definitely lead to a great success.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's something we've put a lot of effort to the past 8 years. And it's, we finally figured out the correct way to do it.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, what I think would be awesome personally is I would love to to eventually see, because we saw what happened with the men's hockey team and how the men's hockey team is, how they were able to go D1. I would love to see you guys, eventually, become like an actual, NCAA, program. I think that would be so amazing.
Yeah, I think it's talked about a lot. I get so many emails being asked about it. Our goal right now, obviously, is to be successful at the level we're at. So our goal right now is to win an ACHA Division One national championship, and anything past that is, a university decision that's kind of way above us. So, do I hope it'll happen one day? Absolutely, and hopefully that's sooner than later.
Yes, of course, and no, it's funny. I think you already answered this question pretty much, but I was gonna ask, what goals do you have for next season? But I think you already answered the big ones. So there any maybe other maybe more secondary goals you have for next season other than just winning a natty?
Yeah, I mean, I think, every team can say their goal is to win a national championship, but I think, we kind of created a new core championship, basically like a triangle, and the base is the Cactus Cup. So for us, that's being able to win in a 5-game series against GCU, and that's the beginning. And then the middle is our WWCHL championship. So we hope to repeat. And then obviously the top of that is the national championship. And I think that's something that's absolutely doable with the team that we have for next season.
Yes, absolutely. Now my last question for you is I just want to know how would you describe, your coaching philosophy? How would you describe that?
Yeah, I think it's changed a little bit when I first started. I mean, I'm obviously still a young coach, but from the beginning to now, it's definitely changed. And mine has always kind of been I have to work twice as hard as the players to be able to, get where we need to be. Being a sport club at ASU, we don't get a lot of resources. So if we're not seeking it out as coaches, or if the player leadership isn't helping us do certain things, we just don't get them. So for me, as a sport club at ASU and not being able to get those resources, I'm trying to do everything I can to be able to provide that for them and provide basically a top class, student athlete experience for our players.
Well, no, and I think that's something that's so awesome is that, and I can even tell this just when I'm talking with people, who've been to games and around watching games, and just, even listening to other interviews that you've done, I can tell that you care about your players, and I think that's just first and foremost such a great thing. And I can just, whenever I see you and the players interact, I'm just like I can tell, know that you have a lot of love for your players. I think that's just so awesome.
Yes, indeed. I think it helps with a smaller age gap. I think it's helped a little bit, but yeah, definitely we care about them as people first and then athletes second.
Well, hey, you were not going to get an argument from me there. That's how you do it. But Lindsay, thank you so much for letting me speak with you today. Just truly an honor.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yes, of course. You have a great rest of your day, and good luck next season. Can't wait to see what you guys do.
Thank you so much.